What's the big deal? Costco has a membership fee anyway. It's going to save us some money.
That was Sally, always trying to drag me along for her own shopping adventures. She only ever seemed to think of what was convenient for herself, and I had denied her requests time and time again. But she just keeps insisting it's no big deal, refusing to take no for an answer. In the end, she was ready to set a date, even though I hadn't agreed to go. "So, when are we doing this?" My husband chimed in, completely siding with Sally. I was shocked at his response.
What are you thinking? It's Sally we're talking about. She's definitely going to make us pay again.
Well, I plan on giving her a taste of her own medicine this time. It seemed like James had some kind of plan to deal with Sally's antics. He was planning some sort of revenge, but only if Sally behaved as selfishly as usual. I decided to go along with my husband's scheme. My name is Lily. My child started kindergarten this year, and I've been busy with his education and socializing with the other parents in the neighborhood. Fortunately, most of the other moms are very kind, helping me with various things like advice about my child and parent-to-parent consultations. I also try to help out as much as I can, and I think I've managed to maintain a good relationship with them. Except for one mother friend. Her name is Sally. She always seems to need help from everyone around her, and despite referring to herself as a spoiled princess, she's hardly ever helped anyone in return. For example, when the moms make plans to go out for a meal, she'd often appear out of nowhere and join in. I wouldn't really mind that, but she frequently asked for bites of other people's food, and often subtly suggested that someone else pay for her meal, claiming that she didn't have much money on her. Other mothers who had experienced similar things had the same impression of her as I did. Whenever I went shopping, I always drove my car, and most of the time, she'd show up and persistently ask for a ride. While I wouldn't mind if we were headed to the same place, Sally was undeniably pushy.
I was in such a hurry to catch a ride with you that I forgot my wallet.
What are we going to do? Go back for it?
Nah, I don't want to inconvenience you now. Maybe I can just pay you back later?
Every time I took her shopping, it would end up like this. She'd make excuses like forgetting her wallet or leaving her credit card at home, and always tried to avoid taking out her own wallet. Sally never seemed to have any intention of paying, and though she promised to pay me back later, she almost never did. Even after I pressured her multiple times with the receipts, she kept evading, saying things like she didn't have any money now or to wait until her payday.
When it comes to money, you're really strict, aren't you, Lily?
She once said when I even went as far as involving her husband. While Sally's husband was a decent man and would apologize and pay me back, Sally herself showed no remorse and didn't seem to care at all. Some people might not think much of a few small shopping expenses, but if they piled up over the course of a month, it became a substantial amount of money. The stress of having to go to such lengths to get the money back each time we went shopping was building up. If only I could decline her request to go shopping in the first place. But Sally had a way of manipulating me using our kids. Our kids were good friends, and there were times when she would have them make plans to go shopping together before coming to ask me for permission. It was hard for me to refuse when she used our children as a bargaining chip, and I couldn't tell my little boy not to be friendly with his friend. While other mother friends encouraged me by saying they sympathized with my situation, it seemed that they too did not want to get involved with Sally and were somewhat keeping their distance.
Hey, can you do the shopping instead?
Huh? Why?
That mom friend I mentioned before is so persistent.
Well, you should just be firmly declined, shouldn't you? I finally confided in my husband about it, but he didn't take it seriously since he didn't know Sally's character. He said the kids are kids, and parents are parents, and I should stand up stronger. I was troubled on what to do. Then one day, my husband came home with an exhausted look. I asked if something happened at work and he told me that when he tried to go to work, he was caught by Sally.
Oh, you're Lily's husband. Perfect timing. Could you give me a ride to the station?
She seemed to have called out to him when he was waiting at the traffic light. Sally asked for a favor, but she didn't seem to consider the possibility of him declining. She came out to the road and tried to open the passenger door repeatedly. When he refused, she yelled, "How could you?" and shouted his name several times on the road, trying to call him back. I can't believe she yelled that much on the street.
That's what I told you, Sally is a handful.
There's a limit to being a handful, right? After that, she even asked for the fare money. After that, he tried to shake her off once, but due to the traffic lights on his commute, he had a hard time. After dropping her off, he wondered where she was going to the station without enough money to buy a ticket. Unable to comprehend Sally's selfish actions, my husband was drained and finally understood why I was complaining.
What is she thinking, really?
That's why I wanted you to do shopping with her instead of me. I bet she's just as insistent with me. My husband gave a helpless shrug and seemed to give up on Sally's actions. I was also troubled about what to do. Then one day, Sally came to me with this story.
Hey, Lily, I've been wanting to go to Costco.
Is that so?
Do you want to go together? It's cheap and the cost performance is good.
Wait, Sally, you go often?
No, I'm not a member.
With Sally's sudden proposal, I gave a vague response. Despite not being a member, Sally was quite knowledgeable about Costco and gave various recommendations. Our family was a member of Costco through my husband, and we would occasionally use the car to stock up, so of course, we knew about it. But that doesn't mean I was going to take Sally shopping with me. I was just hitting it off with her, thinking she was probably after my wallet.
Hey, let's go, you're a member, right, Lily?
I'm not a member.
Oh, then your husband? That's fine too, and I want you to bring the car too.
How do you know that?
I got a ride in your husband's car the other day. I saw Costco's shopping bags there.
At Sally's words, I involuntarily frowned. You know, you can't pay at Costco if you're not a member, right?
So, please take care of the cashier. I'll pay you back later.
You hardly ever pay me back when you say that, don't you?
It's okay this time, right?
Despite having no such inclination this time either, Sally, as usual, addressed my child.
Can we go shopping together? To this, my son enthusiastically replies, Sure. So, then the kids can be watched by my husband, right?
I haven't said we're going yet.
Oh, come on. But it's fine, right? Costco has a membership fee, and it would really help me out.
Unable to bear Sally, who only thinks about her own interests, I refused repeatedly. Even when I told her not to use my child to make promises, she was stubbornly indifferent, making any discussion impossible. Eventually, without even accepting her proposal, she began to make plans as if we were definitely going. What are you talking about?
Ah, Lily's husband. We were just making a promise to go to Costco together.
Oh, that's fine. When shall we do it? When my husband, who had come to pick me up, gave this absurd response to Sally, I couldn't believe my ears. Sally happily rushed to my husband and quickly secured a promise to go to Costco the following weekend. After Sally left, I poked my husband's back and couldn't help but complain.
Hey, what are you thinking? That's Sally we're talking about.
I know. But she said she'd bring her own money, didn't she?
That's definitely a lie. We're bound to get stuck with the bill.
At that time, I planned to give her a taste of her own medicine. It seems that James had some idea about how to handle Sally's actions. Despite my concerns, I couldn't help but laugh when I heard his strategy. While it seemed like an outrageous payback, it only applied if Sally behaved as brazenly as usual. Additionally, if this occasion led Sally to avoid getting involved with us, it might turn out to be a good thing, and I decided to go along with my husband's plan. And finally, the day to go to Costco arrived. Sally, in a good mood from the morning, naturally got into our car, asking if I had forgotten anything.
Do you have your wallet? It'd be a problem if you forgot it.
Aren't you the one who often forgets?
No worries, no worries.
I was irritated by Sally's words, but James amiably responded to her. Usually, at this point, I would want to check by having her take out her wallet, but considering my husband's plan, I held back. Sally seemed well aware of Costco's system, probably knowing in advance that only those with a membership card could make payments. If she shopped there, inevitably James would have to pay. Then she could push the payment onto us as usual, and if she claimed she forgot her wallet, she wouldn't have to pay anything, which is probably what she was thinking. Sally's intentions were obvious, and James seemed to understand it well. Sally, in high spirits, arrived at the store and swiftly started to fill the cart with goods.
Wow, such a wide selection. It's hard to choose.
Sally happily tossed items into her cart as she looked around the store. When I suggested we keep our carts separate to avoid confusion with our goods, she adjusted her cart and continued to load it without any hesitation. James surreptitiously whispered in my ear, noting how Sally was mindlessly adding items to her cart without even looking at the price tags. I couldn't help but laugh at this. It seems Sally, as usual, wasn't considering that she'd be the one paying, and I decided to go along with James' plan.
Wasn't that fun? Wait, Lily, is that all you're buying?
Yes, I still have some stock at home, and I can always come back, right?
Oh, I see. Make sure to invite me next time.
Although I hadn't exactly invited her this time, I held my tongue. We queued up at the farthest checkout line. Seeing James pulling out his wallet while looking at the crowded checkout, Sally opened her bag. I watched her closely, and as I had predicted, she started rummaging through her small bag and began to look puzzled.
Oh, I'm sorry, it seems I've forgotten my wallet.
You said it was okay in the car, didn't you?
I'm sorry, okay. Can I pay you back some other time?
Sally's cart had significantly more items than ours. It seemed like she intended to purchase about $200 to $300 worth of goods, but she had shown no signs of concern about the amount of money in her wallet. Considering she didn't say anything when we got home today, she probably has absolutely no intention of contributing any money. James and I exchanged glances. Oh, right. Sorry, I need to take this call from my folks. I left my cart with James and stepped out of the line. I hid behind the nearby shelves, secretly observing their interactions. Sally seemed to be chatting with James without a care in the world. It's a shame you bought so much but forgot your wallet.
It's really a bummer, but I'm lucky to have a friend who can cover for me.
Oh. I forgot to buy something. Can you hold my place in line while I go get it?
Ugh, fine, but hurry back, okay?
As Sally reluctantly agreed, James also left the line. It was a Sunday morning, one of the busiest times at Costco. As soon as Sally turned to face the cashier, she was lost in the crowd. Now, what will she do?
With a cart that full, she can't really say she's not buying anything, can she?
Saying that, we exchanged glances and shared a wry smile, hidden behind the store shelves. We walked around the back of the shelves and queued up at the furthest checkout line on the opposite side. From there, we watched Sally, who seemed to be waiting for us while slowly giving up her place in line to those behind her. Given the crowded Sunday morning, with many people planning to grab lunch here as well, she wouldn't be able to spot us in line far away. We paid for our goods and left the store first. We got into the car and waited for a while. When I checked my phone to reveal the prank, there was a message from Sally.
Hey, still not back. Come on, don't keep me waiting like this. I can't believe she could stand in line that long without her wallet.
Why don't we just tell her the truth and ask her to come back to the car?
Sounds good to me.
Apparently, she was still waiting diligently, which made us all chuckle. I wondered what she was planning to do after putting all that stuff into the cart and then realizing that we didn't have enough money to pay for it all. With that thought, we told her we already finished up paying and went back to the car. As expected, an outraged call came in from Sally.
Hey, wait a minute. What are you thinking? I'm not done shopping yet.
If you don't have your wallet, you can't shop in the first place. Come on back now.
Don't make it impossible for me. Stop joking around, come back quickly and pay for this.
We're not paying. You have any idea how much money you've made us spend until now? This argument continued for a while, and no matter what we said, Sally insisted that I brought her, so I should pay. In the end, she even threatened to not go back home unless I paid, which made my husband James even more fed up than I was. Well, if she doesn't want to come back, there's nothing we can do, James said, and he started the car. When I asked how she'll get home, James just said, "She'll be fine. I bet she'll just force someone to give her a ride if it comes down to it." James said this with a laugh. Apparently, he was still holding a grudge about the time Sally had forced him to drive her to the station. I kept communicating with Sally, even telling her that we would leave her behind if she didn't come back, but she wouldn't listen. Maybe it was harsh to leave her behind, but with the way things were going, I didn't know what else to do. Knowing her, she'll figure something out, I thought as we left the store. The next day, Sally managed to get home by herself, taking the bus. My husband, laughing about how she did have a wallet after all, was met with a furious Sally storming into our house.
You left me stranded at the store. That was so mean.
Well, it's your fault for going shopping without bringing any money.
So, you just left me? That's the worst. You could have just paid for me.
Do you even realize how much you've been mooching off us?
You're always like this, Lily. You're always so stingy.
She brought up her self-centered arguments, yelling endlessly about how she was unhappy that I didn't spend my money. She even demanded compensation for her emotional distress, making a scene at the entrance of our house.
What's going on here, with all the shouting? Oh, Catherine! Listen to this, Lily was terrible.
Passing by was Catherine. Catherine is a chatterbox and a mom friend who loves to talk, and Sally gave a smirky smile the moment she saw her. She must have wanted to spread the word about how awful I was through Catherine.
Lily promised to take me shopping, and then she left me.
Oh, you mean you pressured her into making a promise, right?
No, it's not like that. Lily said she'd take me.
There's no way she'd invite someone who's always forgetting her wallet and relying on others to pay for her.
But,
so, you threw a tantrum trying to get her to pay for you again, and then she left you? That's what you get. Catherine pointed out the truth of the matter contrary to the story Sally was trying to spread, and Sally was left speechless. I had anticipated that Sally might spread some rumors, so I had already discussed yesterday's events with Catherine under the pretense of consultation. On the flip side, Sally, who was lectured by Catherine, left with a bright red face. Catherine, while encouraging me saying it was a tough break, seemed a little amused. I'm sure she'll be telling others about what Sally has done from here on out. After that, Sally couldn't even correct the truth, and thanks to Catherine, her misdeeds quickly spread throughout the neighborhood. Sally tried to make some allies, but she seemed to be spreading unnecessary rumors herself, and it seemed like no one would help her. On the contrary, many people told her she got what she deserved and started to distance themselves from her even more.
All of this is your fault.
Although I thought I might have gone too far leaving her behind, Sally kept blaming me as usual. After a while, it seems she was severely scolded by her husband, and now she starts to run away as soon as she sees me. Since the people who were fed up with Sally's actions started to praise me for doing a good job, I'd like to think this issue is settled. Because of Sally's constant annoyance, I was distanced from many people, but now, this incident has brought us closer. We started going shopping together, but of course, we each pay for our own things and have built a balanced, good relationship of give and take.